This is today's Bible reading. Transition, Moses' final words. Moses' final words. Moses' final speech contains various materials. In a final charge, Moses reviews Israel's recent God-given victories over idolatrous nations and predicts their future apostasy, but also God's restoration and cleansing. In light of all of this, Moses calls on them to choose life. The song of Moses and the blessing of Moses complete this leader's words to his people. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. The blessing of returning to God. Now it shall come to pass, when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where the Lord your God drives you, and you return to the Lord your God and obey his voice, according to all that I command you today, you and your soul, that the Lord your God will bring you back from captivity and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where the Lord your God has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under heaven, from there the Lord your God will gather you, and from there he will bring you. Then the Lord your God will bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers. And the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants, to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. Adapa misses out on immortality. Deuteronomy 30, 11 and 12. The Akkadian myth of Adapa was found on a cuneiform text in the library at Tel el-Amarna, the Egyptian capital during the time of Pharaoh Akhenaten. The story was uncovered also in various sites of Mesopotamia, including Ashur and Nineveh. The text relates the various adventures of the hero Adapa, a priest of Ea at Eridu, a city in southern Mesopotamia. According to the incomplete account, Adapa's boat sinks because of the divine south wind as he is procuring food for the shrine at Eridu. He subsequently breaks the wings of the south wind, causing a dramatic change in the climate and resulting in a mandatory visit by Adapa to the divine high council, headed by Anu, the king of the gods. Adapa's god, Ea, counsels him to refuse food or drink from the gods, as mortals often would be given food, causing death. He is asked to try to win the favor of Tammuz and Gizida, the divine gatekeepers. During his audience with Anu, Adapa is unexpectedly offered the bread and water of life. Heeding Ea's counsel, Adapa rejects the food, which amuses Anu. Adapa is then returned to his home. Whether Anu and Ea had conspired to trick Adapa, or whether Ea was ignorant of what Anu would offer the priest, is not known, as the text is not complete. The myth has the purpose of showing why humans had not achieved immortality. In ancient thought, there was a distinction between the divine realm and the human realm. In general, humans did not belong in heaven. This belief is reflected in Deuteronomy 30:11-12, where Moses assures the Israelites that God's commands are not in heaven, lest they need someone to ascend into heaven for them to retrieve the commands. Transition: the death of Moses. Though he could not enter, Moses was allowed to see the new land. He had been the great spokesman for God. There would be other prophets in Israel, but no one would ever hold the place of the man who led them out of Egypt to the promised land. As a crowning honor, he is called for the first time the name by which he is perhaps best remembered: Moses, the servant of the Lord. Deuteronomy 34:5. Israel had reached the plains of Moab around either 1406 BC or 1235 BC. Moses began his speeches in the 11th month of this 40th year after the Israelites' departure from Egypt. According to the chronological scheme of the book of Joshua, the Israelites crossed the Jordan and celebrated Passover in the first month of the next year. Sometime during the intervening 2 months, Moses died at the age of 120 years. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 34. Moses dies on Mount Nebo. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is across from Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho. Then the Lord said to him, "This is the land of which I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I'll give it to your descendants. I've caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there." So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor, but no one knows his grave to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his natural vigor diminished. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses ended. Now Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him. So the children of Israel had heeded him and did as the Lord had commanded Moses. But since then there has not arisen in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, in all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, before Pharaoh, before all his servants, and in all his land, and by all that mighty power, and all the great terror which Moses performed in the sight of all Israel. Transition: teach us to number our days. Many of the Psalms begin with a superscription associating that particular psalm with a specific historical person, usually David. Unfortunately, the superscriptions do not settle questions of authorship because the terminology used in them is ambiguous. The Hebrew phrase of the superscriptions can be translated in various ways, possibly meaning of a David, to David, belonging to David, or by David. Thus, the Hebrew superscriptions do not necessarily refer to authorship, and scholars often differ on the precise dating of certain psalms. The superscription of Psalms 90 describes this psalm as a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Many scholars consider Psalms 90 to be a late composition that was associated with Moses long after his death. The psalm is placed here after Deuteronomy not to decide the questions of authorship, but rather to allow it to be read in the context of Moses, as intended by the superscription. By reading Psalms 90 shortly after other poetic speeches accredited to Moses, we can understand it as a final comment on Moses' life and a prayer for God's help in the coming struggles. Now, book of Psalm 90, the eternity of God and man's frailty. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You turn man to destruction and say, return, O children of man. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past, and like a watch in the night. You carry them away like a flood. They are like asleep. In the morning they are like grass which grows up. In the morning it flourishes and grows up. In the evening it is cut down and withers. For we have been consumed by your anger, and by your wrath we are terrified. You've set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your countenance. For all our days have passed away in your wrath. We finish our years like a sigh. The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength, they are 80 years. Yet their boast is only labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. Who knows the power of your anger? For as the fear of you, so is your wrath. So teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Return, O Lord, how long? And have compassion on your servants. O satisfy us early with your mercy, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad according to the days in which you have afflicted us, the years in which we have seen evil. Let your work appear to your servants, and your glory to their children. And let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Amen. This is the end of the Bible reading today. Thanks for joining me. Have a great night. God bless you. And see you tomorrow again.